mad, sad, and whatever. So it's a state of rebuilding. And to say that when you came in as a person of sin and you received that healing, you received that fullness of the Spirit, your new wineskin is built because your old skin of what you lived in, it cannot hold the new spirit that's there, and your new faith is a wineskin. That wineskin is the same rebuilding that is going to happen to that cathedral, that is going to happen to the rebuilding of faith around the world, faith across all denominations. And everybody wants to turn this into, this is the division. You either believe that Christ has divinity or you do not believe that Christ has divinity. Then you have it. You have the Catholic faith. You have some versions of the Christian faiths, and you have against everybody else. And everybody else, because they deny the divinity, they are then known as the Arians. And the Arians are all working together in concert, as they've been throughout the millennia. As we've said, no, it was this guy. No, it was this statue. It was this thing. No, you killed this thing and did this. No, you can only have one God. You can have 10. All of the times we've been human and alive that have had these constructive ideas put over us that have been ever changing. And that's why your faith is strengthened, and that's why your life is made better in as much as you know that you are here. Inasmuch that you know that this is now. Inasmuch that you know that your, needs have always been met. The fact that you know that even having anxiety or a state of fear about what is happening in the country or what is happening to your perceived freedoms, instead of pouring your heart, mind, and gut into that and feeding into this narrative that is only going to bring more wah, wah, wah. See it for what it is. What do you visualize that is? The scared version of the opinion of the planet, if you were walking along the forest, would see, a small hill of deer shit. Could you look at the combined anxiety, which we know to be an illusion and a delusion, in this case, a hysteria? Could you look at that as the useless piece of information that it is in the macro, and visualize that as deer shit? And instead of, there's deer shit, well, I guess I could ruin my walk, and what I'm seeing here in the simulation are surrounded by the gorgeousness of the forest, and understanding that the human nature is the same as the tree nature, because the tree nature is only a giving spirit as much as it gives what? Heat, oxygen, shelter. And are you the same? Are you also that same version of life that provides? No, because you're looking down into the deer shit. And not only you're looking down at it, you might be having an argument over that's the biggest pile you've ever seen. That's the smelliest pile I've ever seen. We should have laws against piles like this. We should build a barricade around piles like this so people can't be bothered by this pile. We should have an app that shows what these piles are in San Francisco, so when people are sleeping on the sidewalk, they don't sleep it. What are you looking at? What are you paying attention to? And what I want you to consider, and there it is, and again, put your words on a diet, not want. What I invite you to consider is, as much as you're here, and as much as this is now, and as much as you're gladful and thankful to be here, can you look at that pile of deer shit for what it is and step over and continue on your way along the center path of truth? Think about that. If where you're going is infinitely, eternally in heaven, then you, my friend, are in a direct line to that. And if what's the strongest thing? The straightest thing, a point between two lines. That's how you get there. And a straighter line has more strength than a curved line. That's a mathematical truth. And so then if you live in the curved path of identity politics, in the curved path of doubling down, because you've convinced yourself that the ideas that you surround yourself put you in some kind of a defensive position where you believe that all of this is going to be taken away from you, And so then you, instead of lashing out against yourself to undo the delusions that you're living in, you lash outward to take away people's freedom or idea of freedom, to pull them down into the level of hysteria and delusion that you find yourself in, and invite someone to be there. And if they say no, then you have some kind of an ism to throw at them and label them as another, and it can't be trusted. So if you trust the fact that you're here right now, if you trust the fact that you're on the infinite line of life being alive, and even when your physical process goes away, you will still be on that center line to the infinite place that we are all going in as much as we choose. And so then if you know that, why are you then not completely astonished and awestruck by the fact that of all of this going on in the universe, you have the opportunity to have the most amazing experience right here and now, to be thankful that there's breath in your body? Because there are people who have, I know you take a header off the third floor of a mall and your life changes. You go off to war to defend freedom and something happens and your life changes. Some people do something and your life changes. Some people do something in the state of renovations and your church changes. And what changes aren't permanent, but change, I'll quote Rush, why not? So then if you know that you're here and now, eternally and infinitely connected to the center point of your experience, and that God is with you, and with God all things are possible, can you then see what is in the information that is being presented to you beyond fear? This religion says one thing, here's an image showing them something else. Here's our response to that. Everybody keeps doubling down. Here is another tragic thing, and all of a sudden, the Christians and the Catholics who, I don't know, how would you say that? The Christians and the Catholics who have been the butt of every late night joke for however long we've all been alive. Just in the same way when we were kids, you could make fun of the Italians, the Irish, the Puerto Ricans, all of it. It was just a different time and a different place.